Welcome into the PHNX Rising podcast. We are inside the beauty that is Studio K, presented by Circle K. It's just a beautiful time to be alive. I'm shedding a little bit of tear on screen, in my heart, everywhere. I am, of course, Max Simpson. I'm joined by the man, Mr. Owain Evans, who is drinking, I would say drinking not the Kool-Aid, no free ads, but he is drinking the Polar Pop because we are inside the Circle K.
Brand.
There we go. He is drinking the Polar Pop because we're inside Studio K. How
are you
feeling?
buying Polar Pops?
Dude, they are.
Max is buying Polar Pops.
I'm an Inner Circle member. They're 69
That's
cents.
what I'm hearing.
Max
is buying Polar Pops. Damon, you heard this?
Buy Polar
you
Pop
heard this,
or two.
Damon?
Yeah, why not?
And Circle K snacks.
He's buying everything.
We got the whole assortment here. We got the nice little sign. This is beautiful. Listen, if you're listening on audio, you're going to have to go back, take a look at the start of this
because
show.
You just got to
it's
see
beautiful.
how smiley this
I'm just
man
so
is.
happy.
Ad-Man has never been more like...
I'm beaming.
Like, this is like Spurs won a trophy. This is what he looks like right now.
Did you hear the portion where I told him, wait a few seconds, but Max just couldn't hide his excitement?
I couldn't.
Immediately.
He was sorry, not sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. I did.
It's premature. A little bit premature,
but
it's
okay. Can you blame him?
He's too excited. He's too excited.
We are darn excited. Yep, let's go. We got everyone in the chat. Absolutely love it. Let's go, Ryan Admin on top. Let's go. Got Bad News Bluebird in the chat. Fat Kid, Goalie Man Pat. Everyone like it. Let's go. Bad News Bluebird, you're saying a lot of stuff, but we're going to say a lot of stuff too. Appreciate everyone joining us here.
Max only scores tap-ins,
hey, listen, I scored though. Listen, Golden Boot winner. Let's go. Fat Kid had it on Twitter. Let's go. But hey, appreciate everyone. We got a nice show for you tonight. I really wish to be talking under a more joyous game. Thank you, Kyle. Also in the chat, new studio does look great. You're
Kyle's
darn
my
right.
goat.
Kyle's the goat. Kyle is the goat. Wish it was talking about a more joyous game because, it's one of those matches where, hey, it's a 0-0 draw. There were some chances in the second half that we documented a bit on Saturday evening during the post game. But, in retrospect, listen, the more I think about this game, I think I'm maybe a bit more optimistic if you're looking at it in the one-game vacuum. Of what we saw, right? So, I don't think it was as dreadful as a performance as we thought. Again, though, if we're looking at this in the context of the overall season, my hopes are still what they were, and the fact that nothing's really changed. I think there are times where you can take these games within a one-game vacuum and say, hey, maybe it wasn't their way, but there's stuff to build upon. We've said it so many times, that's not a way that you can play match in and match out and hope for sustainable results. There's not an attacking threat that's consistent on this club.
3 draws in 4, 6 games with 1 win in those 6 games in all competitions. We're seeing, I think, look, we've got to be clear anyway. The league is really tight. Yeah. It's not as straightforward, I think, as just being, you've got to, they're still 2 wins away, realistically, from battling for home playoff place.
Yeah.
There's very little in this. And so, Jets got the comment that defense wins championship, second best defense in the conference, the goals will come. I don't always ascribe to the goals will come thing. A lot of this team knows each other. It's not like you've got a whole new team being built. A lot of them have played enough together now. I think that part of it is that there are shortcomings in the attack on this team at times. But the key thing here, I think they are looking, and the impression we get is that they are looking at potentially finding another number 9, bringing someone in. It's an issue that we've known was going to be there since day one of this season, and is now being addressed in late June. which is disappointing because you feel as though this team had space to be better at the beginning of the year and could have picked up more points, could have been in a better position. But again, we'll have to wait and see what happens here. It's not a surprise. People in the club have known, I think, for a little while now that this team needed a number 9, and some have known from, I'd say, longer than the last little while.
Oh boy,
that this club needed a 9 in there. But
it's math, man. Math be mathin'. Math not be mathin'.
Well, look, again, it's the issue of you're relying on Remy Cabral alone to provide the goals of Manuel Arteaga and Danny Trejo, which was never gonna. Or you're relying on other players to step up within your team, most of whom were already there and were never going to contribute that much of an increase, I think, over previous seasons. And no one should really have expected that. I don't think it would be reasonable to expect that. And so, again, you're in this position. It is where it is. The comment that we'll have wasted half a season waiting for the extra attacker is correct. Yeah. You do, of course, still have the counter argument to that is, of course, does it really matter when 2/3 of the league make the playoffs? And as we saw last year, all you have to do is get in and you've got a chance.
It's true. It's true.
It's not ideal. You know, and again, okay, Brett here with the one is to yell every time he saw Darius drifting out wide on Saturday, vacating the middle. Right, but Darius Formella is not a true number 9. True. He will tell you that. Again, he will tell you he is a left winger. You see him drop deep. You see him drop out wide. It happens, and it happens frequently. And that's also why, as we are about to move on to some of the comments that we have from the last game, it's exactly why you get moments where, for example, the crossing isn't great. Who's the natural target of a cross on this team? From open play now. Ignore set pieces where you send the big guys up and wait and see what happens. I'll address, I was about to toss it back to you, but I will address goalie man Pat in here. The transfer window comment should make us presume they're looking at an actual transfer alone from Europe, correct? The FIFA TMS, per my understanding, so it's a transfer matching system. It's the system they use for international clearance. I don't believe it opens until mid-July. For the US for the mid-season window. So that's what I'll say with that one. The other side of things, look, USL does what USL does. I can't give you all the details because I don't know all the details, and USL doesn't talk about all the details and never will talk about all the details. But if we're talking about, say, a move from Europe, for the example, the TMS opens in mid-July for registrations, is my understanding.
Yeah, I think, we're kind of contrasting a bit to maybe not this exact point last season, but let's say more or less around the midway point. No, we're kind of, it's kind of creeping up. You kind of look at where Rising sat, right? It was a similar-ish position table. Again, kind of going back to, I think, what Brett was saying earlier, and that last year, yes, we were looking to score, but I think the difference was you were at least creating chances. And it was the law of averages that this club was going to put someone in the back of the net. You just need more clinical finishing. But again, on most days, if you get the number of chances that they created, you are going to put at least 1 or 2 in the back of the net more days than not. They just had, honestly, some very poor finishing. And honestly, we had a time where it's like Manuel Arteaga. We were kind of questioning him. And hindsight's 2020. He's kind of crushing it now. Yes, I know Mikey will probably say, yes, there's been a lot of penalty goals, which is fair and all. But the man, regardless or not, has hit double digits goals already in the season. This team for this year in 2024 is not even getting into those positions in a consistent basis. And again, I keep on going back to, we say it all the time, is when you're not in those consistent positions, your margins of where you're able to threaten drastically they tighten up so much more. And we're Jets saying, yes, defense wins championships. Absolutely. Could you, in theory, make it in as a lower seed and play 0-0 ball and make it in on penalties? Of course you can. This team has experience on penalties. Like, is it the most crazy thing? No. But again, that's banking on everything going your way. And if you're not able to put 1 or 2 in the back of the net on a consistent basis, just puts so much pressure on your club. And that's not a way to live and die throughout the season. I'll say this as well. If you look at last season where we were at this time, yes, team was in similar position, but you had John Stenberg, who, yes, he was kind of on loan or whatever, and then coming back to start playing for Phoenix Rising midseason. Panos Amarnakas coming in, Darius Formella soon after. You had reinforcements coming to this club to already add to a duo in the number 9 position / Danny Trejo, Manuel Arteaga, where there were a threat there. And this year with this team, yes, they need a number 9, But it's like, that's a much bigger ask to say, hey, number 9, go integrate and see what happens. What is going to be very helpful if that happens? Absolutely. It's just, this is not apples to apples this year, man.
No, it's not. It's not. Shout out Harry in the chat, by the way. Hello. Yeah, we will keep the results, I think, that Phoenix Rising are getting rather than what San Antonio are getting. I tell you what, we'll be talking a bit about USL Championship managers later in here. Let us know how long you think Alan's got over there in San Antonio, because I mean, they're a big club to be in the position that they're in right now.
4 L's in a row. Woof.
We'll see. Let us know what you're thinking on there in that situation. We'll be speaking about some managerial stuff later on. But as we look now at, should we look at the heat map from that last game? Looking at it specifically with Rising with that Charleston Battery game, and here's the heat map, right? So, wow.
Okay. Just again for those who are listening on audio, we have a heat map. It's flows left to right. So if you're flowing on the right-hand side where your heat map is, that means you're attacking. Owain isn't on the left or the right side.
They're attacking from left to right.
Yeah,
so
not great.
In this case, there's a presence up there.
Yeah, it's not much though.
But what you're looking at really is, I mean, it's all in your defensive half by and large. It's where the possession is. It's where the passing is. And it's understandable to an extent. They're a slow build-up team. They're going to have more back there, and obviously you're not going to have a huge amount always in the opposition half. But just when you're not clinical, it makes things more difficult. I will address, I think there's another comment in here in the chat that I kind of want to address here, and it's from Goalie Pat, saying, I think we're more than needing just a 9. We need more attacking ideas in the midfield to get the ball up to the 9. I don't disagree entirely.
Yep.
I will say that when you don't have a consistent plan in terms of your number 9 and necessarily a target there, especially when you're a team that crosses the ball a lot and you ask who the target is, you do get into that position of asking, does it suddenly click when you just add that target for them to aim for? You make things so much harder when you feel like you're not really having a clear person to aim for and all of that. It's not ideal. No. I think I think overall, look, this team is not a million miles away from being a serious contender. And I think if you bring someone in who can play probably more of a Manuel Arteaga role kind of 9 necessarily than the quick kind of player, right? You've got that.
You do.
I'll be interested to see what kind of a difference that can make. I mean, the biggest thing here, and we'll get on to that in the second segment. Let's keep talking about the last game. Let's stick to one thing at a time right now, because otherwise I'll keep getting distracted back to this one.
No, I mean, goodness, yeah, we were definitely kind of looking at just some of the stats from last game. I think the one thing we kind of noted, right, was how are you going to neutralize Charleston's attack, Charleston's distribution, and I think it kind of came with how Rising lined up, right? We noted that Fede Varela very much, it seemed, often was tracking Aaron Malloy kind of wherever he went, and we were kind of counting how many passes that Fede Varela even attempted in this match. I'm looking overall 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 passes attempted.
9
successful passes out of 13.
Not a great percentage then in the end. And he doesn't, by the way, get credited with any key passes, chances created, any of that either.
Yeah, and especially for listen, I understand he was playing a little bit more off, a little bit off ball, really trying to disrupt the passing, a bit of an unconventional position, maybe what he's normally tasked to do. But again, even regardless of that, when you're in that position, if you're only getting the ball and attempting 13 passes in that position, I mean, shoot, I get where Goalie Man Pat in a way is coming from of, yeah, a number 9 is going to help a lot, but you need to be able to get your guys in more positions. And again, this is where we get into the chicken before the egg.
This one again, I mean, you kind of brought up though as well, the side of that where he's tracking Malloy, and we have to remember the fact that when you actually look at the numbers for Fede, what he does do, he puts in a little bit more of a physical shift in this game. Perhaps he's a bit more imposing himself. He wins the majority of his duels on the game. He wins 3 tackles out of 3. Okay, there are elements of his game that, again, we can say, is he creating enough? And we can make that comment broadly. Okay. But in the last game, he also had, I think, a very specific task to deal with in there. Sure. And at the end of the day, Aaron Malloy, when you looked at him, knowing that this is one of the best players in the league, knowing what he is capable of doing, knowing just how dangerous he can be when you let him go, I didn't see a whole lot from him, to be perfectly honest, which suggests that Rising, what they were trying to do in those moments, it worked.
Sure.
It worked.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think it then just kind of comes down to there's a way where you want to neutralize, your opponent's one of their best players. All for that, 100%. I think that comes down to where you kind of get into neutralizing the opponent specifically versus where do you play your own game. And that I think is the balance that trying to strike at times.
Oh yeah, no, I know it's never easy, but
it's never easy. What is easy is going with our friends at Circle K and their Inner Circle program, folks. Let me tell you, we are in Studio K, as you know. Owen's got a little fan, right?
It's a bit hot in here.
Little Circle K action.
Circle K on.
Oh, you're saying it's a little hot in here, absolutely. But you know what's going to cool you down is some 79-cent Polar Pops. That is going to cool you right down in there, right? It's just a fantastic.
Max is buying Polar Pops.
You don't buy Polar Pops? Yeah,
Max
sure, why not?
He said yes. He said yes.
Yeah, okay.
He said yes. Damon,
Did you
clip it.
change from the beginning of the show when you said you were buying Polar Pops?
He's going to.
No, I'm doubling down on it. Yeah, I'm buying Polar Pops because they're 79 cents. That's all they are. If you're an Inner Circle member, they're 69 cents. It's pretty great. Pretty nice deal if you ask me. Got some good stuff, right?
If you're not an Inner Circle member, what are you doing?
What are you
this
doing?
Point?
Does this not convince you? Does it not where am I?
Do you not like 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You hear the man. Do you not like being in Studio K? You're watching this Studio K with this nice bevy of snack carts, everything that Circle K has to offer and more. Guys, actually, breaking news on the pod. We're getting a new shipment of snacks into Studio K. Boom.
We're getting new snacks.
That's huge.
You know
Great,
what?
so
you know
we can
we're
start
getting.
on these
You know
then.
we're getting peanut butter pretzels. Weren't you the one? Little peanut butter
That
pretzels.
sounds great.
I think
don't
you were
it
also
was
asking about the
me.
chocolate almonds.
I did ask about that.
Ooh, buddy, that's
Ooh,
on the
chocolate
list.
almonds.
Oh my God, Max!
Okay,
Don't
good,
tell me you brought in the chocolate-covered almonds.
Let's go.
Max is feeding us well here.
We got more. Oh,
He just needs to get those.
Don't say I didn't do it
If you
anymore.
can just get those Polar Pops in, and we'll be good. We'll be good.
Let's go. Fat Kid likes the Polar Pop filled with beer. They do sell Four Peaks beer there as well. But yes, check out Circle K and their Inner Circle program. Terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. See stores for details. Also,
Max, you're in the top level of membership now on that.
They call it the max
But you
level.
spend enough money there.
They call it the max level.
Oh yeah,
baby.
you do.
You know it.
They call it premium.
Yeah, it's premium.
Yeah, the premium
It's
max
not max level at all.
No, he's just trying to. He's just trying to
It's the
incorporate
maximum
himself.
level. It's the max.
I think they call it premium. I think Damon might be right there.
You're the only one that calls it that.
It is the maximum level, abbreviated to max. You're welcome. Also, shout out our friends at OG's Brands. OG Brands pair well nicely here in Studio K. Check them out. They have the sativas, the indicas, the fruits, the creams, the big OGs, the minis, everything
And they
like
also
that.
have Rising's draw against Charleston. Sorry, the sleep edition.
Oh my gosh. Well done, Mr. Owen Evans. So proud there. Yes. Check out our friends at OG's Brands for all occasions. Of course, you must be 21 years or older to enjoy them responsibly. And you can find them online at ogsbrands.com. Follow them on socials at OG's Brands. Alrighty.
Are we taking bigger picture?
I think at
do
this
we wanna
point we
just
do.
take some? There are more comments.
Let's
in
rip the
there
rip the
again.
band-aid. Rip the
Can we
band-aid.
scroll up a little bit, Damon, please? Just on our end, have a look. Where was the comment? Consistency in lineups, a little bit further. No, other way. Sorry. There we go. From Brett. Also need some consistency in tactics lineups so the guys can get in flow. Looked a bit disjointed on Saturday, especially at the beginning. I understand this. I feel as though the number of changes that we're seeing week to week doesn't help in terms of some of that momentum. I also think there are moments where you look at the midfield and just the way that we've seen changes, right? Renzo is in there almost all the time, but you see the changes, JP, Julio, Jose, and it's almost like we look at the fact that Jose and Renzo, we've kind of said maybe not the most ideal. It can be a little bit ponderous. It can be a little bit slow.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Try something else. But you try it for one game or so and then revert back or try something else again. And that's not going to long run.
Yeah.
Help these players to settle in, I don't think. Look, when you've got guys like JP, you've got guys like Julio, I just don't think they've been given enough of a run to really know how good or bad they might be. This isn't to say you give them a few games and it'll work out great. We don't know. But they're here. They're here now. And if things aren't working phenomenally, you got to think about how you're going to use them. And I think it's overdue at this time that we see a little bit of a run for one of those two to give them a bit of a chance and see if they can do something.
I don't disagree. I mean, again,
they're just not getting enough minutes.
It's been, and it's not just the lack of minutes within those positions. Again, it's you are always going to be banking on the course of play, through injuries, through fitness, through just trying to keep guys fresh. At least, right, most clubs are going to change out 1, maybe 2 positions every week, right? You're trying to keep as close to the starting 11 as you can in most consistencies. I think the thing here is that number for Rising is usually not just 1 or 2. It's usually closer to 2 or 3. Heck, and that's even on the low end. Sometimes it's 4. We saw this past week, 5 changes. I think it's the other thing too. It's in key positions. Yes, the defense has been chopped and changed, but by and large, we know who the core is back there. And yes, you have had Pat Marboy deputize very well. I think it is, to your point, there is a lot of inconsistency in the midfield of who's going in there. We know what we have gotten out of Jose Andres Hernandez and Renzo Zambrano together. When you try someone else, yes, there are different results, often different, more positive in the attack, but then why kind of revert back? And then you've kind of seen some of the changes on the wing back sides. I think they do give you something different, but by and large, I don't necessarily think that's more of the issue. I don't think this team's issue is from the width that they're providing you from the outside backs. It is more so just in that spine. Where is the ball being progressed forward? It's not about the speed on the outside. We have that to burn. The guys all put in a shift, whether it is Powerito, whether it is Gabby Torres, whether it is Juan Carlos Azúcar, whoever you're putting out there. Even guys like Gallardo can deputize in a pinch. They have been fine out there. It's not that. It really is through the spine. And that to me, and where you highlighted, I don't get where and why there is so much chopping and changing there.
Yeah, it's look, again, some of these changes are forced. Some of these changes will happen over time, right? You look at the last weekend, I think Panos obviously coming in makes sense. I understand the fact that John was kept out as a precaution.
Yes.
These things all make sense to me. Completely understand.
Yeah.
What I don't understand the consistent chopping and changing otherwise. And again, it feels sometimes like it's a little bit too much. A little bit of consistency week to week will be nice. There are going to be forced changes here and there. It's going to happen. But again, it's just how many times this season do we see obvious continuity from week to week, and it's not very frequently. Brett's comment there about one of the concerns about the way Giulio's been underutilized, it'll potentially turn off other guys coming up from Italy. I'd say beyond Italy, though, just in general, right? If you're someone who's going to take a punt on this league as a youngster, but then conversely, you have Papa Boy, who's gotten a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
So maybe it is Italy specifically in this case. It's complicated. These things are never easy. Young players obviously want to have playing time.
Sure.
Sometimes they deserve it. Sometimes they don't. In this case, I would like to see a bit more of Giulio, I think, than we've seen to date.
Sure.
Because when he has played, I've seen some good things. Remember that week where he scores in Detroit? He scores in Cary.
Yep. North Carolina.
He's capable. He's capable. And I'd like to see him get a little bit more playing time in there, I think, if possible. Some other people were also commenting on Gallardo, on Varela, and just in general.
Just got not panning out, I guess, as advertised.
The general whine, I think, on those two.
Sure.
And I will slightly change my wording there in that we're not going to... I'm not going to use that necessarily in a pejorative sense in that it's bad to have that discussion. Varela has... came in with a lot of fanfare from certain elements of the club. Yeah, definitely. I don't think we ever really saw the Varela that was in mind when they brought him in, per se. This is a man who's very technical. Technical skills, phenomenal. Is he quick enough? Is he strong enough? Is he all of those things? Quick, particularly the mobility is a big part in this league and can be. Got
to be able to put in a shift.
Right, and do we see enough of him in these games?
Yeah.
He has some all right games. I'm not going to pretend like he's come over and just been awful since he arrived.
Oh, sure.
That's just not the case.
No.
But has he been necessarily a player of the stature that we were led to believe he was of, and that he is, as we understand it, being compensated as? That's an altogether different question. And those things actually, and particularly, look at this league level. I think we also have to be honest about the fact that the player compensation side, they can feel like small numbers, but those numbers add up a lot at this level. You're reaching into a pocket, really, if you're trying to pay too many of these players. And you've got to be careful about how you sign up to those kind of deals, because then what you find out down the line is that either you're going to have to take a pretty big financial hit to try and bring other players in if you need them.
Mm-hmm.
it's just complicated, right? It's complicated to piece the different bits together. Gallardo came in with a lot of fanfare. Again, I think he's someone who has a role in this team.
Yes.
And can create chances and can be a nuisance. He's got some good nuisance value. I'd actually say that's perhaps where a little bit of the difference is. I think that Fede is someone who has the technical ability and not necessarily the mobility and the nuisance value in general.
Yeah. Need that.
Gallardo, it's not that his technical ability is poor, but it's definitely not up to that kind of level. But he's got that nuisance value. He's someone who you bring him on late in the game and he's quick and he's annoying and he's going to find a way to get behind your back line and he's going to potentially cause some problems.
Sure.
And he may find that right pass. He may find the right shot. We saw him hit the post in the one game recently against El Paso.
Movement's not bad.
Right.
Yeah.
He can be a nuisance.
Yep.
He can cause panic on a back line. But again, it scales. It scales in terms of where he is relative to other players on this team, where he is relative to the league. I mean, they're not bad players, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily where you always need to be, or more importantly, not necessarily the kind of players you want in certain scenarios to be relying on.
Yeah. Yeah, and okay, then if Varela had Gallardo's pace, we'd have a good player.
You'd have a very good player.
Yeah.
You'd have an MVP candidate if you could.
It's I think that's just it's definitely a lot of things that you kind of take into consideration with this. Like you even seen right players in recent seasons who have been those guys who have been taking the league by storm, who have had that. Yes, they have a world of gifted talent and physical abilities and everything like that, but it's also the margins within this league, I think from an athletic standpoint are, I don't know, there could be some gaps, but realistically I think it really does come down to, what is your spacing, how's your anticipation skills, how's your touch, things like that I really think the margins are, they're there, and you can find players who, even if you are technical, that's all well and good, and we're not going to knock that. But I think you do have to be able to stand up to this league's physicality.
Yeah,
and that's a big thing. It's a very different pace and a very different way this is played than elsewhere.
It is.
Yeah. We'll see. Definitely a lot to sort through. John's comment in the chat, Julio, he's a young boy. He's away from home for the first time. It will take time to settle and find his feet. I think his performances warranted more time. And yeah, we tend to agree. Again, given especially that position, there is a lot of, just a lot of shift needed. I think they work the midfield hard. So yeah, could do with some rotation in there.
Yeah.
One thing I'm not going to be rotating, the beer I'm drinking. It's going to be Four Peaks. Our friends there, they have the best beers. We were there for a little watch party last night.
We were.
A little yesterday. Oh, this is now the third day in a row that
Max
I've hung out with you.
Beers.
What is going on?
Oh, no. Why do I spend so much time with you, Max?
That's what I asked.
No, why am I?
No, I asked the question. Anyway, I was buying Four Peaks beers. It was great. I bought you one, Owen.
You did? I bought you one
and
back.
You bought me back. I appreciate that. What a nice guy. Yeah, I bought you a little Wowie. What'd you buy me?
You did? I bought you a Wow as well.
Yeah, you're darn right you did. Yeah, a little Wow exchange. But yes, check out our friends at Four Peaks. They're a street pub.
Damon, you coming out for Max to buy you some beers?
I'm always down for Max to buy me some beers.
Rumor has it there are two watch parties.
We got Thursday coming up, 3 p.m. Now listen, I get it. Might be a hard time to swing if you guys got a little lunchtime or come out either for a late lunch. Clock out early for work from the pub, work.
Work from home. Work from home. Work from home. Work,
No, listen. Try to
the remote work. You just refresh the emails, right?
Listen. Try to come out Thursday 3 p.m. And listen, I totally get it. If you can't, I get it. No problem. Kind of a difficult time. So be it. Monday. Week from today, 6 p.m. against Uruguay. There's a lot that's most likely going to be riding on that match. Come out for that one. That's going to be a fun one.
Will you be there then?
I will be there. That sounds fun.
Four Peaks beer specials. The $4 kilts and wows. They were a-flowing. They have the great stuff there at their 8th Street pub. Check it out.
Drink.
Let's
if Max
go.
is buying.
Check out their 8th Street Pub for all these locations, as well as check them out at Four Peaks Pub and at Four Peaks Brew to keep up with the latest and greatest going on in Arizona's hometown brewery. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly. Also, shout out our friends at Valley Taproom. They also carry Four Peaks beers there. Yeah, they're darn right they do. It's a great time over at Valley Taproom. There are 2 locations in Gilbert and Queen Creek. All right, we're going to be planning some stuff soon. Euros, little Cope action. Stay tuned shortly. But of course, you can check them out online at valleytaproom.com. Yeah, they got the beer specials, the wine slushies, everything like that. Good time, a little trivia night, what have you. Tuesday, there's no pod tomorrow, so hey, boom, maybe go play some trivia over at Valley Taproom. Shout out my man Donald, tell him we
Max,
sent you.
playing trivia, are you tomorrow? He's thinking about it.
What am I doing tomorrow? There's a reason. Look about you. I might be able to work in with my small ball soccer as I, get some more golden boots under
Max,
my belt.
Is that a free ad?
No, it was the size of the pitch. Check them out at Valley Taproom on all socials. All right, so this is a little variety hour. So you mentioned there's a certain USL coach on the move.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of movement going on in general. There's a lot of stuff we can talk about with USL. Right, let's start with that one actually. Let's start with the news. That is that Orange County head coach Morten Carlson, according to reports from Denmark, will be heading over to Denmark to a Super League club, Lyngby. That one, from conversations with sources here, are also, seems like it could well be a go. So Orange County could be left without a coach in the middle of the season. Won't be the first time that's happened, but it'll be interesting to see what they choose to do, what their path forward is at that point. Because normally they promote from within. Yeah. It's how they've found their last few head coaches. They promote from within. Will they do that again? Will they go out on a hunt? We'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see.
But they are, of course, in playoff contention. They sit in 8th in the Western Conference.
It's true.
I mean, everyone's in playoff contention at this point.
You're not wrong. I mean, right?
Apparently, unless you are on the downward slope, like San Antonio.
I don't have it pulled out in front of me, but I think third. I don't have it pulled in front of me. But 3rd through 8th in the West, I'm pretty sure separated by like 3 points. It's pretty tight.
Yeah,
it's pretty darn tight.
It's pretty tight. There is not a whole lot in there. There are 5 points from 3rd to 9th.
Yes, Brett George in the chat. I believe Rick Chance would be a good fit for Orange County. There you go.
Are you really going to say that?
It's a suggestion. That's what he's saying. I'm just reading the chat.
Okay, well, thanks, chat.
Actually, a little...
chat says Rick for OC.
What's up, how you doing? A little... actually, I also have... I don't know if you saw this, too. Did you see the San Jose Earthquakes? I know it's not MLS talk. I'm going here. I'm going somewhere.
Why are we talking about MLS
I'm going somewhere here.
Why are we talking about MLS?
They sacked their manager. Did you see that? They parted ways. Yeah. You know who they appointed?
No.
Ian Russell. Do you know who he used to coach?
Oh,
he used to
you're about
coach
to say Reno 1868. Of course you are, Mr. Simpson.
I'm just saying.
Of course you are, Mr. Simpson. Yeah, I know Ian. We all know Ian. We know who Ian is.
That's all. That's all I got. Yeah.
Max had to get his Reno reference in somehow.
Bingo.
Didn't he? This man, he has such a thing for referencing a mediocre Nevadan city.
First off, it was above average. I have no ties to them anymore.
I don't.
Statistically, they were.
This, please, Judge Damon. Reno is mediocre. Please confirm.
That's not the definition of mediocre.
He said, like you said, a mediocre Nevada city, which I will say, Reno's probably a top tier Nevada city.
That's because it's Nevada.
I'm probably going. If I'm living places in Nevada, I'm going. Probably Tahoe #1,
which is essentially
Reno #2,
which is essentially Reno. Reno Tahoe is the
but if we take the Nevada out of the equation, is it mediocre?
Yeah, it's pretty mediocre.
There we go. It's mediocre. Thank you.
Table finishes. That's just not true. I'm not trying to defend them. I'm calling facts are facts. Listen, playoffs they're mediocre. I'll give them that. Sure.
No, the place was pretty mediocre. I went in the playoffs. I was there.
I'm not talking about the venue.
There. I was there. You were there.
I worked in the bowels of that. I'm not saying.
I know, but the place as a whole.
I'm talking about the club. I'm talking about the club, the pit, the on
what
field.
What about the club?
I'm talking
the baseball field.
I'm not talking about the
field.
I am not arguing with you.
Corey
that
Herzog. We're talking mediocre here, Max. Let's be real.
Okay. All right.
Anyone who's got views on Reno and if it's mediocre, give us a shout in the chat, please.
You're talking about this.
Remember,
I'm talking purely the club.
Reno is mediocre.
I'm talking purely the club. Purely the club.
Phoenix, Foster, Langsdorff.
That's a shout.
Wonder what Darren Mattox is up to. Last I saw, he was doing sermons on Instagram.
Oh boy.
I don't know if he still is right now.
Oh boy.
But he was.
Yeah.
Darren was a character. I'll put it that way. The man was a character.
What other USL news or whatnot? How we?
I like how New Mexico are claiming redemption right now.
Woof.
They're claiming redemption, and you know what they're claiming redemption for, don't you, Max? They're talking about none other than their defender. Where is his name? Taylor Maples again, right? Who the week before, so the prior weekend,
Yes.
did the whole pick the ball up when it never went out of play in his own penalty area to give away a penalty thing.
Yes.
And now they're saying redemption. Why are they saying redemption? Because he took a penalty that won the game. Now, I don't know about you, Max, but when a referee misses a penalty call and then gets a throwing call right at the halfway line, I don't then say redemption.
I mean, this is also a club that said devastating news for.
I mean,
certain
yeah, I
reasons,
know,
so
but
come
like,
on
can
now.
we be
Come
real
on
with
now.
that? Look, the man was handed a penalty that he didn't win and put it away.
Nice.
In the same way that the previous week he made possibly the dumbest error
crazy.
that we will
That's
see in
crazy.
USL Championship this entire season.
Great. I mean, that's
By just picking a ball up in his
history?
own penalty
History?
area. The man wasn't paying any attention. The ball didn't go out of play.
History,
His
maybe?
goalkeeper just kicks it to him.
From
and
the
the man
past and the
clearly thought it was a
future?
goal kick and just picks the ball up. And it never went out of
He's
play.
not a goalkeeper, just by the way.
And they
not
lost
a goalkeeper.
the game because of
No.
that.
No.
They lost
Arsenal did
2-1.
that this season and it didn't get called.
Oh,
No,
I was waiting for it. I
no.
was
There's a
waiting for it.
difference. There's a difference. The Arsenal one was from a goal kick. This one, the ball never went out. This one, the ball was never out of play in the first place.
They're both pretty egregious.
They are pretty bad, but this one gives you
Pretty bad.
zero latitude to say no penalty. I mean, I just... I don't know. There are a lot of things about New Mexico that we won't get into. There are a lot of views about New Mexico that we won't get into. But I just don't see this as redemption. I think to try and spin a redemption arc on this is just comical, right? Do I think that the idiotic decision he made against Memphis defines who he is as a player? No, I'm not going to say that because that's just daft. But do I think that he's somehow redeemed himself by being handed a penalty specifically for the purpose of scoring? Like, what kind of Disney movie nonsense is this? Okay, we've got to be real about this. No, it is. It's like the happy ending whereby it's like, wow, they won the game because they just handed him the ball to take the penalty, to take that 0.788 XG opportunity that he had no role in winning. Like, be real. Be real.
No friends. Yeah. Someone call Chris Cortez. Call Long Tan while you're at it, baby.
Interesting one thing from Harry. As far as Alan Marcino goes, I could personally see these next two games at home. New Mexico and Phoenix could both decide his fate. That's
wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, all right, so let me get this straight.
Interesting.
Phoenix Rising.
You know, if we
Phoenix
told
Rising has killed two clubs.
If we told certain Phoenix Rising players that fact, I tell you what, they would be up for that game.
Oh, boy.
There are one or two names that immediately come to mind who, if you said that to, would be like, great, we're winning that game then.
Yes.
They will remain nameless, but you can probably know at least one of them via Twitter.
Mentality monsters. This is crazy. Omar Bravo, let's go. We're just naming them all. Let's
we got
go.
Omar Bravo, Chris Cortez, Darren
Bring
Massey.
Didier back. Oh, he's in his mid-40s. He's fine. He can still kick.
So we went next to it. Baby Shark, Happy Clappy FC. Let's go.
I think on that note, that's a great place to end this on. Baby Shark, Happy Clappy FC. Appreciate everyone joining us here on the PHNX Rising podcast. Of course, make sure to follow us at PHNX __ Rising because double the underscore.
Double the beers that Max is buying if he goes to the watch parties.
It's fair. Go US men's national team. Let's get another dub here in the midweek. Of course, shout out also our sister podcast, the PHNX Wrexham podcast. Damon Dog, let's go.
No.
Shout out Paul Mullen.
Let's go, boy.
Come on, Owen.
Come on, Owen.
Fuck the Tories.
You can follow.
We will sign off with that one tonight.
You can follow Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter. Oh my gosh, you can follow me on Twitter at Max David Sims. You can follow Owen on Twitter, OJ Evans 18. You can follow Damon Dog on Twitter at Damon DAWG. You can follow Jacob Franklin. Actually, give Jacob Franklin some love. Apparently, he almost died today. He's kind of milking it. I don't know. No, that's not on the pod. Okay, let's redact. No, he's fine. He's fine. He's
Max Simpson is like that guy hanging over a player that's about to be stretchered off going, can you give him a card for
Rub
diving?
some dirt on it.
No,
that's
Jacob.
just
That's just our sense of humor. No,
Jacob just texted me 5 minutes ago, and he said that he's taking off tomorrow. He's going to work from home tomorrow because he's not feeling too hot.
Joe,
wow, and you're making fun of him.
Here's Max going, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, Jacob.
Max is the kind of guy who boos someone who's like genuinely seriously injured themselves.
Okay, stop.
And he
Don't put
boos
that out.
them
Don't
as
put
they
that
get
out
in
there.
treatment on the field.
Jacob knows that. I hope he feels better. He knows that. No, we appreciate you, producer Jacob. He helped make Studio Can't Come to life. So thank you guys. Appreciate you joining us again on the PHNX Rising podcast. It's a beautiful game, but it's way more beautiful when I don't dig myself a hole in the app to get myself out of. All right, good night, everyone.
We all silly like the mayor.